This is the Surly Grognards for April 30th, 2018. This is Peter Bowman, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, Eric Carlson. How are you doing tonight, Eric?
I'm doing all right.
Excellent. So, we've got a bit of a topic for sort of a quasi-topic, followed by a question that will probably be a fairly lengthy answer. We got one viewer question that I think deserves a good chunk of the show. But there's some stuff I want to talk about at least. But before we get to the topic du jour, which will flow out of this, is what's been up recently? What have we been doing? Eric, you go first, because mine will segue into what we're going to talk about a fair bit.
Okay. So basically the most interesting thing that happened was I fought against orcs in 40k for the first time ever.
What?
Yeah, I know, weird, huh?
Someone other
I
than
brought
you
my
was playing
Steeler
orcs?
cult because we didn't want. Yeah, I brought my Steeler cult against this other guy's orcs because, too many orcs on the table would just be too awesome and the place would implode. And I've discovered there's such a thing as war boss envy.
Uh-huh.
Like, you look at the other guy's orc conversions and you're like, oh, that's really cool. I should try something like that. Because no dedicated orc player has anything stock if they can help it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, he for his battle wagon was a German half-track historical model, like just a plastic kit with a bunch of stuff stuck on it and too many guns.
Nice.
And his war boss was, I'm not sure what it was based on, but his war boss, who counted as a war boss in mega armor, was basically a series of whiskey casks joined together by orc flesh and pipes. It was awesome. And of course he had a pirate hat on, because of course he would.
Yeah. I have to admit, the war boss, when I was dabbling with I was starting to put together an orc army briefly in 3rd edition. Never finished it. And I can't find the conversion I did for my war boss, which I really loved. I think you saw it, Eric.
Yeah. It's based on the old metal Ogren, isn't it?
Yeah, it was an old metal
Yeah.
Ogren with the big gun thing, which I was basically treating as a big shooter because I thought that was hilarious.
Right.
And I basically modded him with like little sort of wires basically coming in and out of his flesh to cyborg body.
Right.
And give him a big fuck off axe in the other hand.
Well, of course.
And
So it's just like...
And a little green cap.
That's the thing. He also just had a bunch of just like little conversions thrown in there. Like, one of his orc boys I thought had an oversized gun until I got a good look at him and realized he was just carrying tons of loot.
Nice.
His knob with a wall banner was in fact a grot with the giant chain sword from the Imperial Knight model that he was holding up. The galaxy's strongest grot.
Damn. That's a badass grot.
Yeah, it's just like awesome weird stuff. It's just that's the joy of orcs, whether you're playing against them or playing with them. It's just awesome weird stuff that pops into your head and you throw models together to see what happens. It seems to be a common thread with orc players, honestly.
Nice. Yeah. Anything else of note?
Not really. That was the most exciting thing that happened since last week.
Yeah.
That I could talk about on stream.
Right. Okay. Let's see. This past weekend they brought back the Kobayashi Maru thing for Star Trek Online.
Yep. I played a bunch of that. That's always fun.
It is. I'd never done it before, actually.
Really?
Yep. First time I did it went very well. We got to like wave 24, I think.
Nice.
The Doomsday Machine showed up during it.
You know what? The Doomsday Machine always shows up like wave 4 with me and just blats the Kobayashi Maru, and you're just like, well, that's the end of that scenario.
No, it didn't show up till wave 21 or so for me.
Okay.
Second time I did it was doing it with Tachi in his new Anorex Crenum Dreadnought.
Oh, nice.
So on one of the waves, Hachi fired off one of his grav wells,
Right.
And we murdered the ships. And those explosions, well, let's just say the Kobayashi Maru went from 100% to 10% very quickly. Because it bumbled near the mass carnage. And the warp core breaches did unfortunate things to it.
That too. Like, grab wells started happening, and then someone types in chat, "No, don't!" Boom, 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 boom. Kobayashi Maru is at 50%. Is at 10%. Scenario ends.
Oh. So I did that a little bit. That was fun. Tried out the new, the revamped minefield thing that they had, where you're fighting against Imperial Romulans, and
Oh yeah. I need to try that at some point.
the rewards aren't huge for it because you can do it from like level 11 on.
Right.
So it doesn't have mark rewards, but it was fun.
Cool.
So that was neat. But the big thing and yesterday I spent during Community Day on stream. A few of us played a bunch of Payday 2, which is the first time I've ever played it.
I've heard good things about that game. I can't justify picking it up right now in my budget, but yeah, I've heard good things about it.
It's okay. It's fine. It's definitely a game that I would rather play with friends than with a pickup group. I can tell that already.
Right.
And I definitely prefer taking the stealthy approach to missions rather than the going in hot and just shooting crap out of things, being noisy. Because when you do that, it's sort of it feels kind of like a semi-generic, sort of hold a point against waves of enemies until you can grab stuff and then move to take the loot to the extraction point thing. And
right.
It's the case of it's that period of time waiting to crack the safe or what have you, plus the waiting for the getaway vehicle to show up. That said, the stealthy missions were actually very cool and difficult, and there are a couple of the actiony ones that were actually pretty awesome, including one where we were robbing a cargo plane full of cash.
Cool.
Midair.
Which is awesome. I mean, how else are they going to rob a cargo plane full of cash? Wait till it lands and goes into maintenance? That's ridiculous.
But yes, it involved, basically, storming the plane to get the releases to the cargo bay so we could kick the pallets of cash out the back, parachuting after the cash, then gathering the cash up on the ground and into these things so a helicopter can fly in and pick them up.
Cool.
Which is just absurd and awesome.
Very cool.
So, yeah. But the thing that I've spent the most time during this past week is the thing we're going to be talking about. So this past Tuesday, on the 24th, Harebrained Schemes, the people who made the Shadowrun RPGs, computer RPGs recently, all of which are very good from what I understand. I played the first one.
I enjoyed me some of that Shadowrun Returns.
I played Shadowrun Returns, and the other ones apparently are better.
I haven't picked those up yet, actually.
Everything I've heard is the follow-up to were they did a better job with them.
Nice.
But they ran a very successful Kickstarter for BattleTech. And they've made a BattleTech tactical game where you're a mercenary. One of the early stretch goals for it was to do a single player campaign for it. The base thing that they were working on that they would do if they only got a limited amount of money was to make just a skirmish game where you played against other players.
Right.
But they made one of the stretch goals to get the single player campaign, and thank God, because it's a lot of fun. I'm not sure I'd have bothered picking it up if it was just the multiplayer thing. Personally,
I kind of agree with you there.
Like, I probably will play the skirmish thing some, and it'll probably be a lot of fun. But so it's got a single player campaign, and it's a tactical game. You're a mercenary working for a noble in the periphery. So they're noble of a small power in the inner sphere. And the basic plot is helping this person retake their throne because they were betrayed.
Right. Yeah, noble stuff. What nobles do, right?
Yep. And it's I've really been enjoying it. It's a turn-based tactical game. There have been many people who've compared it to XCOM. They're wrong. Uh, all right. So the ways in which the XCOM games and BattleTech are similar is that you have limited forces. You have a base that you build up over time to give yourself more resources and improve stuff and such. You can upgrade you can upgrade your individual units that you're using, etc. And it's a turn-based tactical game. There are two major differences that completely change the gameplay. Number one, in XCOM, it's you activate all your units on your turn, do your stuff, and then the opponent does all their stuff. BattleTech has an initiative system. uh,
Because cool.
so
Because it's basically the tabletop, as I understand it.
it's very similar to the tabletop. There are some
Only
subtle
with
differences.
all the annoying back-end stuff that bugs the fuck out of me about BattleTech is handled by the computer.
That's definitely the case. So yeah, basically, initiative's broken down into sort of subsections of the turn. Light units act in the first step, medium units in the second, heavy units in the third, assault units in the fourth, and then I think there's a last phase. And during any of the phases, you can instead of activating one of your units, you can put a unit on reserve. That means it can act later in the turn if you wanted to. And then within a phase, you alternate between the two sides activating units. Or between all the sides that are involved in it, because it's theoretically possible of multiple sides in a battle. So it's not all my units go and then all your units go, which is a noticeable difference in the way tactics works in these games. The other is that unlike XCOM, BattleTech does not have Overwatch. This is another big difference.
That's a big, yeah.
Again, because and no small part of it is due to the fact that you don't activate all your stuff at once, and then they activate all their stuff at once. So it's a very different game. Like going into it saying, "Yeah, I understand XCOM. I'll be totally fine with BattleTech." If you're good at tactical games in general, you'll be fine in BattleTech. But there'll be things that'll catch you off guard most likely if you're used to a lot of the way other ones work. That said, though, I'm really enjoying it a lot. It's BattleTech. I mean, there are again subtle differences. Like the initiative system's a little bit different than the tabletop. There are a couple of ways. So there are a couple of things that they do that change things up. Much like the tabletop, when you move quickly, it makes you harder to be hit. So as a unit moves, it builds up these evasion charges, little evasion counters, and each evasion counter gives enemies a penalty to hit you.
Cool.
The thing is, every time you're shot at, you lose an evasion charge.
Ah, okay.
So light units that move very quickly build up a bunch of them, which makes them very hard to hit, and it means they stay hard to hit for a while longer than bigger units that don't get as many evasion charges when they move. You can also there are a bunch of different abilities too that you can get. Unsurprising. It's like your pilots. There are 4 stats in this instead of the 2 in the tabletop.
Okay.
In both of them, there's piloting and gunnery, which determine how well you maneuver the mech for piloting, and gunnery how accurately shoot. But they've added in guts and tactics also.
I was hoping you were to say glory.
No. Guts modifies how hard it is to kill how many hit points the mech warrior has, but it also gives you benefits against it increases your max threshold. It improves your max heat threshold before things start going badly.
Oh, okay.
And
that's neat.
It also makes you more resistant to stability damage, which is another thing they've added. Whereas, when you take damage,
right. You're telling me about the stability damage.
Yeah.
So knock you over.
Right. If you take stability damage, enough stability damage will knock you over. Unless it's a combination of guts. I think guts reduces how much stability damage you take, and piloting increases your threshold for avoiding being knocked over. I think I have to double check that,
Mm.
but it's stuff like that. And tactics improves stuff like indirect fire. It gives you abilities like sensor scanning, so sensor lock-ons, so you can lock on things you can't visually see and enable your teammates to shoot them with like indirect fire weapons and such. Also, sensor locks knocks off evasion counters.
Mm.
It's neat. It's really cool. Also, you don't just have the storyline. There are a whole bunch. You are still a mercenary company, so you can go off and do other mercenary contracts
Cool.
and make money and get salvage and like. There's the whole like running a merc company aspect of the game too, where you gotta pay your pilots, pay maintenance fees, make enough money to cover said fees so that you don't go bust. Uh,
Right.
and repair your mechs and shit. It's
Buy ammo, all that. Pay for.
actually the one maintenance thing they did. I think ammo costs and repairing armor are factored into your. I think they're factored into just the maintenance fees.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So you have to buy like blocks of ammo for like slots on mechs for using weapons, but you don't have to buy individual shots after that, as near as I can tell. And you don't have to spend your mechs don't have downtime on replacing armor, as opposed to repairing internal structure and replacing like destroyed weapons and shit.
Okay. Neat.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
definitely like probably going to end up picking it up because, well, it's giant robots and it's a RTS. Well, not really. It's a tactical game, and I like both those things.
yep. And it's got, the stories that it's in it's pretty well written so far, and the voice acting's pretty good.
Cool.
I really do recommend it. I mean, it's BattleTech, so I will admit I am not unbiased going into it because I'm a big BattleTech fan to begin with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
I mean, duh. Built-in fan base there.
yep, but I do think that like it's a good enough game that I think even people who aren't inherently fans of BattleTech might be want to check it out. I think. It's fun. I'm really enjoying it. If you like tactics games, it's worth checking out, in my opinion. Honestly.
Yeah, I'll definitely probably be picking it up because, like I said, giant robots.
Yeah. Also, you can there's very set. I will also say the animations for like the attacks, especially the physical attacks, are actually quite satisfying.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of videos that look pretty satisfying there.
There's something a lot of fun about having a battle mech walk up to a tank and step on it. Just crush. Also, someone put together a video of a bunch of. There's a particular mech in the game called the Highlander, which it's a big assault mech with jump jets, and there's a maneuver you can do called Death from Above, where you jump and try to land on enemy targets. The nickname for the Highlander is the Highlander Burial. Someone did a video set to sort of rocking bagpipes and electric guitar stuff.
Yeah, it's a
Highlanders.
Dropkick Murphy song. I forget
Yeah.
exactly what it's called.
Yeah, I don't remember which. You're right. It's Dropkick.
It's not actually they didn't write it. It's a traditional like Scottish bagpipe song, but it's the Dropkick Murphys doing it with their band.
Right. And just watching them of Highlanders jumping on top of things. It's awesome. Also, it ends with an Atlas, which is the heaviest mech in the game. Someone modded it with jump jets and had it death above somebody.
Jump jetting Atlases are second only to jump jetting Marauder 2s.
I'll take your word for that.
Because they're awesome.
Uh-huh. So, at any rate, BattleTech is something I really enjoyed, and I'm a big fan of. I think I don't know how much we've talked about BattleTech on the show before, just as an overall thing. I know we've mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, BattleTech's cool.
It's a neat setting.
It's a FASA setting, so awesome world building, troublesome actual rules.
I will say, of FASA's games, the actual tabletop war game is probably the best they've done.
Yes, I will agree with that.
Um,
Um, yeah, I'll definitely agree with that. It's just well, the clans come and throw what little balance they had out the window.
they actually are real. There's a fair bit of nice balance on a lot of stuff in BattleTech, outside of like individual unit balance, but like the balance between the weapons for the most part is actually fairly well thought out. It's only sort of thrown off a bit by the PPC.
Mm.
The issue is, like they did a fairly nice job at balancing, the more damage most things do, the shorter range it has, which doesn't make a lot of sense logically to a certain degree in terms of real world vision, but from a game balance standpoint, it actually works out pretty well.
Yeah, I've actually come to the conclusion that shorter ranges in general make for more tactically interesting games for tabletop war games.
Largely, I would agree with you.
So because now it's not now there is no longer the option to just sit in my deployment zone or whatever and just shoot the fuck out of you as you try to close.
I will
Or
say, I think you need a balance.
oh,
You need
absolutely.
you definitely need some long range stuff. Uh, because without
No,
that,
I actually agree with you, but it's
you definitely need good short range options. I agree, or short range options. I
yes.
agree completely. And you need to be able to find a way to deliver that to people who want to hang back and not actually engage. Like you've got to be able to, like the short range stuff has to have some way to get to its range.
Yes, and this is my big issue with the tabletop war games in general is that um if it's easy to build a non-mobile gun line, that's what people will gravitate towards because it's the simple, easy way to build it, and it's just what they're going to do. So to have an interesting, balanced game, you need shorter ranges, or your long range stuff can't do a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of the occasional super expensive, and vulnerable to close assault artillery pieces. And I'm not saying you can't have a gun line, but it should be a mobile gun line. You should have to move and
Yeah,
to
and it
move
also
into fire
shouldn't be
positions and
it shouldn't be super
yeah,
long ranged, in my opinion.
yeah,
Like that's the thing I liked about how they handled Signar in War Machine.
yes. War Machine's actually an excellent example of how to balance ranges and range and
Yep.
close combat.
Because the Signar and long gunners are devastating range attackers, but their range isn't super. It feels long in War Machine because
Yeah,
everything's fairly short range, but you can cover that distance fairly quickly.
yep, absolutely. And that's what I mean. You still have stuff that feels like long ranged shooting attacks. But like you say, take the gunners with their like 14-inch range, move them into 40K. They're like, this is what the fuck.
Yep.
And yeah, no, I really enjoy the shorter range guns in general because it encourages more dynamic gameplay.
I agree with you for the most part. Yeah. Although I have a preference for longer range combat in general.
I generally have a preference for getting stuck up in the face. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm of two minds about it, but yeah, about the I agree with you completely that I think too much long range without enough good short range options is problematic. I agree completely.
Mm.
Because then it literally is, well, I set up my things here, you set up your things there, and we roll dice at each other.
And we roll dice at each other. Yeah.
That's
Boring and dumb. And I honestly don't understand why people enjoy gun lines that boil down to that. Like, it's just, really? Really? That's your shtick? That's what you're going to do? You're going to sit there with your basilisks or your long gunners or your Gauss rifles and just sit there and shoot the fuck out of me? You're boring. This is boring. I'm going home.
well, I mean that's the thing about BattleTech is even the long range guns, for the most part, there's reasons to get closer
Yes.
because you get more accurate. And then it becomes the dance of I want to keep you in my optimal range and out of your optimal range with the short range guys.
Yes.
The issue with the Gauss rifle is that it is the gun that invalidates virtually every ballistic weapon in the game.
Yeah, the Gauss rifle is
A problem.
Gauss rifle is problematic to say the least. It's just why take anything else?
Oh, that's easy, Eric. You could take clan energy weaponry.
That's true. You could just take clan weapons or just general all around, just better. The end. Screw you. I have problems with the clans. I have a lot of problems with the clans.
I do too. Like the Starlink era tech that is the quote lost tech, because BattleTech is in a setting where it starts the setting starts out where the game starts out just as the inner sphere, which is the part of the galaxy that's been colonized over the millennia, coming out of a dark age, basically. Just coming out of it. And so technology has regressed somewhat for them, a fair bit, honestly, and they're just sort of beginning to rediscover old tech. And the Starlink era tech that's lost. Some of it, most of it is actually fine. Honestly, it's
the Gauss rifle that's the big
and
offender.
even the
there.
Gauss rifle's not that big a deal. It's a problem, but at least it's actually heavier than the AC-20.
Yes,
like that's at least it's the heaviest weapon in the game. Well, outside of the artillery piece that the artillery missile piece that the Arrow 4 that you could, which weighs the same.
Right, and takes up a whole mech.
Takes up most of a torso, yeah.
Yeah.
You can theoretically mount 2 Arrow 4s on a mech, if I remember correctly.
I remember that there was a catapult variant that had 2 Arrow 4s, and its job was to sit a table away from everyone else and fire rockets at people. And if you got on the same table as it was screwed.
Yeah, basically. I think my favorite Arrow 4 mech, though, was the... God, what's the name of the damn thing? There's a Steiner assault mech from that has 3 Gauss rifles normally, and there's a variant that rips one of the Gauss rifles off for an Arrow 4 system. So it is the worst nightmare of any sort of mech that's gone off to hunt down the artillery piece. It comes running over and sees, oh god, it's an assault mech with 2 Gauss rifles and a bunch of medium lasers. I am so screwed.
Fuck it, I'm going home. Screw this. Not worth my trouble.
I'm so screwed. But yeah. So yeah, honestly the piece of tech that's the problem is the double heatsink.
Kinda. I don't know. I have less problems with the double heatsink than you do.
I have more problems with it by a large margin because that is what invalidates ballistic weapons entirely. Like even if you didn't have the Gauss rifle, it's what allows all energy builds to be really functional and also be really boring.
Yeah, I could see that.
I push the button and shoot all my guns just all the time and don't have to think about any heat ever.
I find the double heat sinks are...
That's what allows that to happen.
Yeah,
reliably.
The double heat sinks are a bigger problem for assault mechs. What I mean is using them because they have all this tonnage that they need the space for. But when you start getting to like medium or light mechs, then yeah, of course you use double heat sinks. Duh.
You use double heat sinks in assault mechs anyways. You don't need that. Here's the thing: you don't need that many of them, especially if you've got like, okay, I want to put a lot of firepower in this mech. I will double out my base heat sinks and maybe a couple extras, slap a Gauss rifle in for a chunk of my thing, and the rest goes to energy weaponry.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. The double heat sink is problematic. I just have bigger problems with the Gauss rifle and everything the clans do.
Well,
fuck the clans. Fuck the goddamn eugenic space fascists.
They're not fascists, Eric.
They're lunatic eugenicists with
They are that.
They're lunatic eugenicists. No, they're fascists. They're militaristic. They're definitely they're fascists.
It depends on which clan you're talking about, Eric. They have each of the clans. The clans.
All the ones that don't have ghost bears. Or diamond sharks, because diamond sharks just like, yeah, we'll buy that. Would you like to buy this?
No, there are many of the clan like it does vary by clan. But anyways, the real issue is
Yeah,
honestly like Jesus Christ, their weapons are so fucking broken.
they really are.
Like it's just not like there's like once clan tech gets in the game, there's no reason to use anything else from a balance standpoint.
Nope.
Their guns and equipment are just better than anything else in the game. They just are, and that it removes a lot of the fun from the game for me.
Yeah, I agree. I
they,
hate the
they,
clans.
they do more damage at longer range for less heat, and for less weight and space also.
Yeah.
That it. What? At least the intersphere versions of the stuff like the intersphere pulse lasers are noticeably heavier and they have less range than the regular versions. It's just
I mean,
like
technically, the clan pulse lasers have less range than their
they have
regular
less range than
versions.
their extended range lasers. They just don't use normal ones.
Yeah, they don't use regular ones.
They either use pulse or extended range. There is no normal range non-pulse weaponry because they're stupid. No, not the clans are stupid. Because the regular ones would be stupid for the clans because there's no reason to use them.
This is like half tonnage or something.
Oh, that would be fair.
So like their missiles.
Oh my god, the clan LRMs, which weigh half as much as intersphere LRMs and don't have a minimum range.
And don't have a minimum range. Yeah. Yep.
Because that's a
Fuck the clans is
yeah.
what we're saying.
Yeah, the clans are badly balanced in our opinion. No, they're just badly balanced. I don't.
They're just
I
badly
can't-
balanced.
I
There's
cannot
no
defend them.
Yeah. There's just no. You can't. Fuck the clans.
And I know there are a bunch of people out there and several of your listeners who are fans of the clans. I'm sorry, you're wrong.
I agree. I agree with Peter 100%. That's how much we hate the clans.
I mean, in all seriousness, I totally get why some people enjoy them from a flavor standpoint. I get it. I really do.
Oh no, I totally get it from a flavor standpoint. It's fucking FASA. They know how to write a fucking world.
Yes, they do. And also, if you got into BattleTech and MechWarrior from playing the MechWarrior computer games, especially like MechWarrior 2, that's your first exposure to the setting, and you're coming in from seeing it from the clan point of view.
Yes, absolutely.
That will change things. I came into the game from the 3025 tech era, so
I honestly don't remember where I came into BattleTech. It's just sort of so ubiquitous.
Yeah.
It was just sort of always there the way Dungeons and Dragons was.
It's really weird because there are a lot of people who know what MechWarrior is because of the computer games.
Yep.
They have no idea what BattleTech is. Like
It doesn't surprise me that much.
Right.
But like,
oh, the BattleTech tabletop game, because of the issues it's had over the years with FASA going under.
With FASA going under and Harmony Gold chicanery.
And the
no, it's not even chicanery. It's pure corporate fuckery.
Yep.
Harmony Gold's corporate fuckery.
The IP being bought by WizKids for a while, that went well.
Yeah, with the clicky system and the heat brick and terrible models. Just terrible models.
Yes, and they're advancing the timelines to way into the future, and then deciding that they've fallen back into a new dark age.
Because shut up.
Well, because they couldn't. They wanted to do their own world building and their own world stuff without. They didn't want to retread on the old setting stuff because they wanted to do less advanced tech stuff. I get that.
I understand that. I understand getting your hands on a setting and wanting to do your own stuff.
Yep. And there's as stupid as I think the industrial and agricultural mechs with their pseudo melee weapons based on they're like the lumberjack mech with its chainsaw, giant chainsaw, which is a mech with a giant chainsaw is kind of a fun image until you actually think about it.
Here's the thing. I'm okay with a giant chainsaw in most settings, but BattleTech sort of, despite the fact that it has giant stompy robots, is a fairly grounded setting.
Yep.
So the giant chainsaw is like, I see where you're going aesthetically, and that's really cool. mean, come on, man. I play a game where one of the things you're supposed to take seriously are OCD space elves cosplaying as Kamen Rider with chainsaw swords.
Yep.
I'm okay with chainsaws on your giant space robot. But BattleTech's so otherwise grounded that it feels just out of place enough to really draw attention to it.
Yeah, I have the same problem with a lot of the. I mean, I have a problem. I actually have a minor problem with the fact they introduced melee weapons in BattleTech at all. A very minor problem. It's not a significant.
It's a minor problem. I love the melee weapons because no one fucking expects it.
Well, here's the thing,
and it's just fun.
They managed to make BattleTech melee, like, especially, I will say this, in the computer game, they get the feeling across beautifully. That, like, there is no grace to these melee weapons. This is not a Gundam with a weapon. This is a 14.5 meter tall engine, like war engine, slowly slinging this just giant mass of, tons and tons of weight, crushing into something.
Yes.
Like the melee attacks.
The melee attacks, your RX-78 with its beam saber dancing all around. No, this is a Godzilla kaiju fight. Yeah. Only it's all metal.
Which is glorious. Like, and they don't. As far as I can tell, they don't have any of the mechs with melee weapons in the computer game that just came out. I suspect they will probably be added at some point in the future. But like, you watch these mechs punch stuff or kick them, it's just this slow wind up, and it's just this gorgeous. Like it reminds me of the clips of watching the fights from Pacific Rim.
Yes.
Where, like, I mean, I still haven't seen Pacific Rim yet, and I really should do that. I know that.
You should. That movie's so much fun.
I know, and it's on my list. But like the footage of like watching, like I will say flatly, the original Pacific Rim, watching the clips of the fights. Dear God, they get across that these are gigantic, massive things, and all the attacks just feel like they have real weight to them. Like just literally tons of mass behind them. There's nothing speedy or elegant about them. It's just this onrushing, like, just freight train of crushing brutality.
And it's awesome.
I'm not arguing that. Not arguing against the awesomeness of it. But I will give BattleTech serious credit for the melee weapons that serious credit for the melee weapons they did include. Which included, originally it was the hatchet, which is basically a giant fuck-off club.
Yeah, it's just a big wedge of steel held in one hand of a robot.
And then people sort of said, but my pilots are from the Draconis Combine. We're all about samurai stuff. We should have swords.
Okay, fine. Your hatchet is shaped like a sword.
It does a little bit less damage than the hatchet and is a little bit more accurate. And while we're at it, we'll make the giant mech mace, which does a little bit more damage and is a little bit less accurate. Done.
You happy now? Shut up.
And people were happy with it. Like, the mace honestly didn't need to be put in. Like, just the sword, you're done. Because everyone else is fine with the hatchet. Even if the hatchet is probably inefficient. It's cool. I totally get why people use it though.
The hatchet's inefficient, but it's so cool.
Yeah,
that's what it boils down to. I know it's just saying that the giant chainsaw felt out of place, and now I'm going on about the rule of cool. But the hatchet is really just a big wedge of metal, and even before they introduced the hatchet stuff, like they had rules for like picking up like other mechs and beating one another with them.
Well, you could take, like, if you destroyed a mech or knocked a limb off of it, you could use that as an improvised club.
Yeah, there are rules for improvised clubs, like grabbing a tree branch or like a piece of superstructure from a building, that kind of deal.
Tree branch? No, not a tree branch, Eric. A tree.
You're right. It would be a whole tree.
Again, we're talking about things that weigh like 50 tons and are like 14.5 meters tall.
50 tons for your wuss.
I was going with the average weight, Eric.
If you're a wuss.
That's the average weight for all battle mech. Actually, that's actually high for the average weight, probably.
Look at me! I'm from the Capellan Marches. I only have 50-ton battle mechs. Stunner all the way, buddy.
Oh, don't be ridiculous, Eric. Eric, House Steiner does use medium mechs. Those are their scout mechs.
Yeah, it's true.
There's a wonderful image actually of the quote Steiner Scout Lance, which is a trio of assault lance of assault mechs, which is beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Oh God. But no, in all seriousness, everybody uses a lot of light mechs in flavor wise. It's just they do.
Because they're cheap and easy to maintain and whatnot.
Yes, despite the fact that logically, if you go purely by the rules, there's really almost no reason to use light mechs for scouting. You're almost always better off with either VTOLs or hovercraft.
Those aren't as cool as giant robots.
They're not. You are correct, Eric. The problem is, why waste money on, if you're just using it for scouting, why waste money on a light mech to do that when you could spend much less money on a bunch of hovercraft and VTOLs, and then just bring more big mechs.
That's pretty much what every MechWarrior game I've ever played in ends up doing.
We need a tabletop, yeah.
Yeah,
because everyone realizes that the light.
So let's just get like a bunch of hovercraft and use those. We'll be able to cover more stuff for less money.
Yep. And I will say that's one of the things that the computer game does a nice job of. It gives light mechs an advantage, because of the initiative system and because of the evasion system. That makes them actually not the worst things ever. The Locust is actually usable.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: light mechs weren't ever. Light mechs weren't good in the tabletop, but they had a role, and that was high-speed harassers to jump on top of like artillery units and LRM units and whatnot.
I'm talking about I'm specifically talking about the low end of light mechs.
Okay.
Like the 20-tonners. Like there's almost no good reason to use 20-tonner mechs when you could use a 30 or 35-ton light mech.
This is
almost as fast and be much tougher and with more firepower.
Yep.
You trade a very small amount of speed for a significant increase.
What about the Stinger with its devastating medium laser? Pew pew pew.
And don't forget it's 2 machine guns.
Talk about the Stinger. It just had the medium laser, didn't it?
No. The Stinger had a medium laser and 2 machine guns.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
It had the exact same armament as Locust. It was just not. It didn't have as high a top speed, but it could jump. And the Wasp had a medium laser and an SRM-2.
Yeah, I remember the Wasp had the SRM-2. Yep. Pew pew pew.
Yeah, the Locust at least was really fast, and of course these were all outshone by the 10 tons heavier, 5 tons heavier Spider, which had 2 medium lasers and was as fast as Locust and could jump.
Yeah, the Spider was just.
If you
flavor-wise, the Spider was a death trap though because it had no ejection system.
Yes. But at least it was fast. And
That's
could
true.
Jump, and actually could hurt things. Anywho, I mean, we could talk about BattleTech and stuff on forever. I mean,
we really could.
A lot of stuff on it. I will say the BattleTech as a whole, just to talk about, it started out as a tabletop game called Battle Droids originally, and then Lucas looked and said, "Droids,
yeah."
And Fassa went, "Sorry, Mr. Lucas, sir, we won't use the term droid. Our bad."
It's now BattleTech, and they're battle mechs. No droids involved.
And eventually Harmony Gold got involved and said, "Hey, you're using these images that are ours." And Fast like, "But we paid the studios for them."
Harmony Gold's all like, "Hey, we paid what was it, Tatsunoko?
I think so,
for the rights to Rotech. Yeah, so we paid Big West for the rights to the mech designs. Yeah, well, stop it. You're not allowed to use them. Yeah, we can. Our lawyers are bigger than yours. They're not allowed to use them. Fine." Of course, now all of this bullshit is biting Harmony Gold in the ass because apparently Tatsunoko didn't ever had the rights to designs or all of the distribution rights that Harmony Gold claims they have access to. So yeah, this is all kind of like falling apart. Which part of me is like, woo!
Yeah, most of me is woo.
Most of me is woo. Part of me is a little sad because Rotech, despite people hating on it for being a quote Frankenstein of all these different shows, which it honestly is. It also did a very important role in bringing anime to the West, and is a big part of my childhood. So,
Yep.
you know. On the other hand, dude, might actually get like actual legally watchable Macross series over here in the States.
That'd be awesome if it happened.
That
I
would
will
be
grant that.
awesome.
I'm not as big a Macross Robotech fan as you are, but I'm a fan. So
I mean, because I would certainly never go to like other extra legal means of watching these.
nope.
I mean, certainly no. That would be wrong.
No, that would be terrible.
When have I ever said fuck you to corporate fuckery and went and did something anyway?
That you would never do that, Eric. But yeah, I love the fact that Harmony Gold was still in on the whole thing. They did in fact attempt to block sue Harebrained Schemes from using images for using images, which that court case was settled. That court case was dismissed with prejudice by the judge.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful image in one of the articles I read about it, with the image that Harmony Gold was claiming was infringing, which is the locust from BattleTech, this BattleTech game, and the Zentradi or whatever it's called in Macross, officer's pod.
Yep. I think it's the Regold? No, it's the Glau.
The Glau, yeah, I think that's what it is. Which is what was the inspiration for the Marauder in the tabletop, and they look nothing. It looks nothing like a locust. I mean, yes, it is a mecha with digerigrade legs and guns. We are done describing the similarities. They look nothing alike.
They look nothing alike.
It's like, dudes, no, just no, give it up.
Like you might have been able to. You can make a slightly better argument for the other battle pod that shows up in Robotech. The white one as opposed to the gray and red one.
Yeah,
but it's still not a good.
No.
It's not a good look, dude.
Yeah, they failed, which I'm happy about.
Yeah.
It's dismissed with prejudice, so you can't bring this suit again. Go away. Tee. So, but yeah, I think we should wrap up talking about BattleTech and get on to Duwani's question, because we did want to get into Duwani's question.
We did want to get onto that because it's actually a pretty damn good question.
Okay, before we do that, before we start the question, though, I do want to say we do try to save time in episodes for answering viewer questions, like we're about to do. If you've got questions for us, please send them to us. Our email address is surlygrognards@yahoo.com, surlygrognards@yahoo.com, or you can post them in the comment section on YouTube when the recording goes up there. Or if you've got some other way to get a hold of us, feel free to ask us. We'll try to keep them in mind for the next episode. But yeah, Duwani sent me a message. He's a longtime community member of my stream community, and an all-around good dude. He wanted to talk a bit about what character deaths in any form of media have had the most impact on us.
Yeah, this is a good one.
And I will start things off with one of the big touchstone ones. It was eventually undone, but it was still a moment that affected me, and I will never forget it. Honestly, Spock in Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
Just Spock's sacrifice was it blew me away. Honestly.
Yeah, that one. That was a good one. That's a really good one. And I unfortunately, being a little kid, saw 3 before 2, so it's like, oh, he comes back in the next one.
Oh, yeah, I saw it the other way around.
But that still like, but that's Spock. Spock can't die. That's Spock. I mean, I unlike say with Vader, where Vader died at the end of Jedi, I was like, Vader's not dead. He's Darth fucking Vader. Whatever. I don't care if they burn his body and he shows up as a Force ghost. He's Darth fucking Vader. He'll be back in the next movie. 20 years later, 30, 40 years later.
Boy, you were wrong, weren't you?
Yep. But I think Spock's really good.
That's the first one that leaps to mind for me.
Yeah. First time that I ever had to actually deal with character death because I actually saw the Transformers movie before I saw Star Trek 2.
Ooh, ooh.
With Prime's death.
Optimus Prime's death, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, could they do that? Does that mean like all those other guys that died actually died? Holy shit, everyone just died!
All my favorite characters were just murdered to sell me new toys. I mean, no, it was...
Part of me was like, holy shit, you're allowed to do this, that's awesome! Actions have consequences, is my favorite show! The other part of me is like, oh my god, they just killed all my guys. And then I saw the episode where Roy Fokker dies.
Oh god, right! Yeah, getting into anime is it changes things up a little bit. Don't it though?
So yeah, that's probably the earliest memory of a death in media that kicked me. That 1-2 punch
Optimus fell by Roy
Optimus Prime and Roy Fokker and Robotech.
Oh, that's brutal, man.
Though the one that gets me every time I see it, like it never fails to make me cry, is the end of Big Fish where the dad dies.
Oh god, yeah.
Like, I am a fucking baby at the end of that fucking movie.
Yeah. Oh lordy. Yeah.
I saw that movie in the theater on a date, and I bawled my eyes out, and it was really embarrassing.
Yeah. I don't get as embarrassed about the fact that I don't tend to tear up. It's just not something that I.
Oh yeah, I hardly ever tear up, but that scene, holy shit.
Yeah, but I'm generally okay with it when it happens to me because it usually means that. Yeah, that means that the writing got me.
Yeah.
An example, a fairly recent example for me, honestly, that gets me at a minimum misty-eyed. But like the first time I watched it, and I knew it was fucking coming because I'd seen the original version of the damn show. It was Yamato 2199 when Akita dies at the end.
Yep.
I was crying the first time I watched that because that scene was so well fucking done.
Yeah, it was a really good scene,
and I knew it was happening.
Guardians of the Galaxies 2. Like, that's another one. It's like, oh, god damn it. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's a really good, really funny movie. And then it kicks you in the balls. So it's like an episode of Futurama.
I haven't seen. Oh god, Futurama. Oh
not
Jesus!
The episode with the dog.
Not the dog in Futurama. God damn it!
Futurama does that all the time, though.
Yeah.
Like, I love Futurama, partially because it can lurch so quickly and gracefully from comedy to like heartfelt emotional moments. Like
Yep.
The one where Leela's in the coma and dreaming about and thinks Fry dies. Like, that whole episode is hilarious and just chokes me up.
Yep. God. I would say that it didn't tear me up, but oh god, it shook me. And it was Mommy in Madoka Magica.
Oh yeah.
I knew that something was coming because you told me that things changed in episode 3.
Yes.
I was not actually expecting Mommy's death, especially the way it happened. Jesus.
But here's the thing, I'm watching that and I'm like, Mommy's kind of a bitch. Okay. I mean, she's being nice, but as soon as anyone questions her, she's a bit of a bitch. And then she gets her head bitten off by the giant clown worm, and like half my face turns into a giant grin, the other half goes, "Did they just do that?"
It was just it just caught me completely off guard. I was not expecting that. But yeah, that was what? God, there are several, but I think some other good examples. I mean, a lot of them will be from anime, just because that's a lot of what I've been watching recently. No, I could think of one from a TV sitcom.
What's that?
Brendan Fraser's character in Scrubs.
Oh yeah,
Dr.
yeah,
Cox's friend.
yeah,
The moment when Cox realizes that he's at his friend Ben's funeral, it's like, oh my
yeah.
fucking god.
Where Zach Braff is like, "Where do you think you are right now?" And he's like, "Oh shit."
Jesus Christ. That was a right hook out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, it was.
Ugh.
Comics wise, the Lock and Key is the great, relatively short series that everyone should read. I know I've recommended it to you, Peter.
Yep.
I
haven't gotten around to it yet, but yeah.
When the villain dies, and you realize exactly who he actually was and what was going on inside, that's a kick in the balls.
I'll have to take your word on that one.
Like, I don't want to give you any
Nope, that's fine.
spoilers, but yeah.
Comics. As much as I'm not a fan of the Ultimate Universe, Ultimate Spider-Man.
I haven't read that one.
Oh, you haven't read Peter's Death?
No. Here's the thing: Ultimate Spider-Man is the best part of the Ultimate Universe.
Hands down, not even close. Like, as much as I knock on Bendis, his run on Ultimate Spidey is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. And his actual death doesn't get me as much as the funeral. Because that happens. And it ends at the funeral with Aunt May bitch slapping Captain America. He completely fucking deserves it.
Yeah, Ultimate Cap is kind of like the anti-Captain America.
Yeah, he's... yeah.
He is every bad thing that you can say about Iron Man in recent comics.
But there's this one little bit at the funeral, at his funeral, you know, they're pulling up and, like, you know, Tony Stark's drive in the limo with Mary Jane and Aunt May. By the way, Peter died saving Aunt May, Mary Jane, and Gwen Stacy, just as an aside. Taking down the Green Goblin.
That's actually a bit of a brave move, saving Gwen Stacy.
Yeah. Yeah,
because it's such a seminal thing that Stacy dies because Peter wasn't fast enough.
Yeah, well, yeah. In this case, yeah, he was. It's different, but it was the Green Goblin. It was Norman Osborn. But yeah,
of course.
But it's a bit different. And the whole thing is, you know, you're seeing Aunt May freaking out that Peter's been shot had been shot at this point, saving Cap. Yeah, Peter Parker took a bullet for Cap.
Normally I'd be like, awesome, taking a bullet for Captain America. But this is Ultimate Captain America, so...
Yeah, but at any rate, but like, so Tony's in the limo with Aunt May, and he's basically saying, you don't have to worry about the funeral, I'm paying for everything, because the kid deserves it, and you don't have to, you do not need to have to worry about this shit. And she's like, I just want it to be something simple, and he's like, about that... And they they pull up this church, and there's these huge crowds outside. And she's like, "What did you?" He's like, "This is not me. This just happened." Like, and he's like, "Look, I totally understand. We should do something small for the people he knew and cared about, but the city needs to mourn too, because he meant a lot to the people of the city." And he said, "If you're not up to it, I'll drive you home. I totally understand, but like, it'd be great if you could go out there." So she actually does. And the bit that gets me is there's this little girl in the crowd who asks if she's Peter's mom, if she was Spider-Man's mom. And she's like, "No, I'm his aunt." She's like, "But you're the one who made him breakfast and stuff, right? You look like you need a hug." And it's just like, oh my fucking... It's just like,
holy shit.
Damn you, Bendis, that's good writing.
Bendis can be really good when he wants to be.
Yeah. Well, yeah, seriously, like, if you've not read Ultimate Spider-Man, even knowing that, read it. It's really fucking good.
Yeah.
And it, you know, it keeps being good afterwards with Miles Morales. It's just great. He's a great character. But, yeah, and also you get to see how May slap the fuck out of asshole version of Captain America.
Yeah. Yeah, basically take all the things that make Steve Rogers awesome and delete them and replace them with Bro Dude, and you've got Ultimate Captain America.
Yeah, not a fan of Ultimate Cap. Not a fan of most of the Ultimate Universe. Ultimate Spider-Man was good, though.
Ultimate Spider-Man was really good. I enjoyed Ultimate Universe when it was coming out, and I've largely just grown out of it.
Oh God.
Um,
But yeah, I had to bring that one up because that was I recently stumbled across it again recently. I was reminded about how good that was.
mm,
Um,
I want. It didn't break me up, but I thought it was just one of the another comic book death that I thought was just one of the most kick-ass moments of doomed heroism I've seen in comic books.
okay.
Is Mr. Hyde in the League of
Ooh,
Extraordinary.
I am not as big a fan of the second volume of that as you are, but Hyde's death was really good.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
I'm a sucker for doomed
Yep.
heroism, and Hyde's actor for action of doomed heroism is just god damn, yeah. Going out like a boss. For those who don't read it, haven't read it, you should. In this place, it's Mr. Hyde literally doing the last man on the bridge versus an army of Martian tripods on the Thames,
It's really
and
well done.
it's really well done. And Mr. Nemo's response upon like, see, because they're all watching this happen. Hyde basically punches the fuck out of a tripod leg. After getting blasted by a heat ray, cracks open the cockpit and starts talking shit while eating the pilot. And you see the tripods all sort of look at one another, and all of them blast Hyde at once and obliterate the bridge in doing so. And then it cuts to Captain Nemo's face, and he's just like, I don't think they feel emotions the way they do, but Hyde has taught them fear.
uh, um,
Because Hyde gets blasted by the heat ray, and the art is amazing because he's basically a charred corpse, but you can still see the very vibrant, very alive, very amused eyes. Who was the artist that did the first 2 volumes of the League? Oh, he's great. I want more of his stuff.
I got another one.
Hmm?
Another comic book one. Astro City, The Confessor.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a sad moment, but an amazing heroic sacrifice.
Yep.
Like going into a situation knowing that it's going to get him killed in order to try to save people. I don't want to spoil it. I've spoiled enough saying the Confessor dies. But Jesus Christ, Confession is one of my favorite arcs in Astro City.
Confession's really good. I'm going to have to go with Tarnished Angel for the best one.
Sure,
but...
and that's they're one and they're 1A and 1B. I mean,
yeah, really.
And you can flip them, and I will never argue against about someone preferring Tarnished Angel. Like, fine.
Yeah,
they're that fucking close. I just have a very, very slight preference for Confession. But it's really slight.
Yeah.
Oh man, the visuals of Confessor, it's much like you're talking about with Hyde, just as he's wasting away from what's killing him. He's slowly turning to dust basically,
and
still managing to wrangle enough strength and fortitude to unveil the conspirators.
Yeah.
It's just it's awesome, and it's really well done. I got another one in fiction.
What's that?
From MASH.
Oh man, it's been thousands of years since I've seen MASH.
It's the episode where Colonel Blake has left and is going to be replaced by the new guy whose name escapes me. And it's the end of the episode. He's gotten his gotten his discharge. He gets to go home. And the episode ends with everybody in the operating tent, and Radar walks in and with the dispatch, reading that his plane crashed, his plane was shot down, and everyone was on board was dead. And just the looks of the actors in the room, and just the way it's delivered, and how much the actor playing Radar is breaking up, because the writers told no one. They didn't know. That was their honest reactions to the fact that this character was dead. And it's an amazing scene, and it still gets me a bit every time I see it. I mean, there are hosts of really well done deaths in media, obviously.
Oh yeah, clearly.
And I'm sure we're forgetting some of the ones that really hit us.
Yeah, clearly. Let me see here. Susan Rodriguez in Harry Dresden, the book series.
I don't think I've only read the first one, so
yeah. It's later on. It's in a book aptly titled "Changes."
Fair enough.
And I don't want to give it away, but it kind of kicks you, partially because it really kicks Harry, and he really sells how much it fucks him up.
Right.
But yeah, it's a really good scene, and it all takes place in the middle of fighting an army of vampire gods on top of a ziggurat, because it's still Harry fucking Dresden.
Oh man. All right, let me see here. I'm trying to see if I can think of any other ones off the top of my head. Let's see. I'm taking. Oh God! I'm looking at the chat. I just looked at the chat. I'm sorry. I wasn't looking at the chat while I was doing this. There are a couple of good suggestions in the chat.
I cannot see the chat. Twitch still hates me.
Yeah.
I am blind and deaf.
All right. So Duani's got a couple from the chat, which I want to go over because Duani mentioned them. Littlefoot's mother in Land Before Time.
Yep. Because Don Bluth is a fucking master.
Yep. There's another one in SC which I've not gotten to yet, so yeah. Oh God, yes, Dinobot from Beast Wars. Jesus, that didn't break me up so much as just going, "Oh my God, it's like." Yeah, I mean,
it's another fucking badass moment.
Yeah. Well, it's also his realization that time can be changed, but he has no choice.
Yeah.
Like, jeez. Core and DS9 also. Yeah, Duani's right about that one.
Yep. That's another badass death.
Yep.
Jadzia in DS9. Thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like, just because it's like, they had really worked really hard to build up her relationship with between her and Worf, and she's become a fixture on the show. And she gets off by Dukat because she happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and standing slightly in his way.
Yeah. Because fuck Dukat.
Yeah. Yeah. Dukat's probably the greatest Star Trek villain.
He's up there.
Oh, him or Khan. It's really him or Khan.
Yeah. And he had more time to develop.
Yeah, he had a lot more time to develop. But Khan's played by Ricardo Montalban.
Let's see. Any other ones we can think of quickly off the top of our head?
Let me see here. Dargo in Farscape.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Another great last man on the bridge moment.
Yeah.
Tell him who your daddy is. I'm your daddy.
Oh, Dargo.
Man, I love Dargo. Dargo is fucking awesome. I love the way he evolves over the course of the show.
Yep. Farscape's a great show. They do a lot of stuff like that.
Yep.
Um,
Let's see here. Pick a death for the Doctor.
uh, I don't know about that. I think most of them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Some of them I found just annoying. I'm what's his fuck? The guy after Eccleston, what's his name? Why can't I
Tennant.
remember his name? Tennant. Tennant's death, I was just like, oh, come on. You've been through this before, dude. You've been through this a dozen times. Stop being a whinging git.
I'm actually not a big fan of most of the death scenes, especially the new Who. They're a little bit too overblown.
Yes. Yes. Although Eccleston's was better done simply because he's like, yeah, and you know what? That was fantastic.
Honestly, of the Doctors, God, this is trite, but in some ways, but I gotta go with
Baker.
Tom Baker's.
I actually kind of agree with you.
Um,
I think he probably has the best ending there. Eccleston's great line of, you know what? I was fantastic, notwithstanding. But yeah, probably Tom Baker's.
uh, yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's just a bunch of them. We could go into more, but we should probably wrap things up.
Yeah. We do this for another couple hours, but we've already been doing it for an hour and a half. And I do need to eat food eventually.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna wrap things up here.
Also, we made ourselves sad.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening, people. I hope you enjoyed this. We'll be back. We'll be back with another episode of Grognards next week, most likely, because Gav gets back from his vacation this upcoming Sunday, so we won't be able to even start the new series.
Yeah.
This weekend, probably. So yeah, more Grognards next week. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you got much like this question we're answering here, if you got questions you'd like us to answer on the show, as I said, please feel free to email them to us. Our email address is surlygrognards@yahoo.com, surlygrognards@yahoo.com, or you can post them in the comments section on YouTube, where the recording of this goes up. If you got feedback for us, constructive criticism, all that sort of stuff, we love getting that. It helps us make the show better. Please do send it to us. Same places as before. And if you've got show topic suggestions, we love show topic suggestions.
Mm.
Send them to us. That way we can talk about the stuff you want to hear us talk about. Also, we don't have to go talk to each other. Go, what are we going to talk about this week?
I don't know. What do you
robots?
want to
Giant robots.
Robots. Yes, always robots.
It worked this week. Anyways, that's going to do it for this week, people. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care, buddy.
Bye, humans.